Say that you a baller. You lame, can't play this game. Step up to the plate, cause you say that you a baller. At the top, this is how I rock.
Welcome into the Nesson Digital Studios. Courtney Cox here with Darren Hartwell, and welcome to episode 2 of The Rebound.
Yes.
This is an exciting one.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. Some of it not as great as the other stuff, but it's still some good things. But
good things. We are going to jump right into it. Obviously, Celtics Cavs, game 1 of this season, kind of a crazy one. 102-99 the final score. The Cavs coming away with the close win.
Yeah.
The end of that game, kind of crazy. Beginning of the game, terrible.
Yes, obviously the big story there, Gordon Hayward's injury going down 5 minutes into his Celtics debut. That's, you hate to see it for a guy like that, a guy who's, worked so hard and, really was kind of going to take the next step here in Boston. He's kind of one of those guys who's underappreciated a little bit. Kyrie Irving was kind of the star of the offseason. Then he comes in, he's ready to prove his worth, and then 5 minutes into his season, it's over.
I think the craziest part was watching all of the players from both teams, their reaction to it.
Yep.
I mean, I'm a very squeamish person. I'm somebody who doesn't like to look at pictures, look at videos. And I was watching that game, and I had to turn away as soon as I saw it happen. But then to watch, the reaction from the players, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and it was really gruesome. I don't think TNT necessarily knew how bad the injury was going to be. They just kind of zoomed in on it,
right,
expecting it to be a twisted ankle or something, and his ankle's going the other way. It's not a good situation.
I mean, it wasn't Kevin Ware.
Yeah.
That was the worst injury I've ever seen in my entire life.
This is on a short list.
This is on a short list. I mean, I don't understand how your body does that. I also don't understand, and maybe this is just me, but when I think of a fracture doesn't seem as bad as a broken ankle. Obviously, it is bad. But when I saw that, immediately my mind was, oh my God, he just completely tore apart his ankle, completely broke his ankle. I mean, I'm not a doctor. Obviously, you're not a doctor.
Yeah.
But to hear fractured, I was kind of like, what? That's kind of crazy in my mind as somebody who has no medical background.
Yeah.
But just crazy.
Yeah, and I think one of the takeaways, I guess, is the reactions from everybody, kind of the outpouring of support, and everyone's shock value. That shows, first of all, how much respect he has around the league. This is a guy who's been an all-star for the last couple seasons. Last few seasons, everyone is really taken aback and saddened by the fact that even if you're a Cavs fan, you hate to see this happen to a guy like Hayward.
Right, and love him or hate him, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade going over,
yep,
and making sure he was okay, kind of shaking his hand. Mm-hmm. You could just see that everybody was really feeling for him. Nobody wants to see that. You want to win a game.
Arena was really silent after, I think for a good quarter after that. It was very weird to see.
Very weird.
Kind of hear a pin drop in the opposing stadium too. It was weird.
And I mean, it's blurred out in the background kind of, but all the pictures of him, struggling on the court, to see the fans' reaction on the courtside seats. I mean, people are shielding their eyes, covering their mouths. I mean, you go to a basketball game, you think you're going to enjoy a fun game, you're going to be able to watch your favorite team, you're going to be able to see the drama play out, in 5 minutes in to have that happen, that kind of changes your night. Yeah,
and I mean, fortunately, at some point, both teams were kind of able to move on, and we actually ended up getting a really good basketball game. You just hate to see it start like that.
Absolutely. Well, now the Celtics kind of have to think about what they're going to do in the absence.
Yes.
We are not completely sure on, obviously, time will be of the essence for him. He will want to make, a big comeback, but I mean, the Celtics need to think immediately, what are we going to do? But you look at, we talked about Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in the first episode and what kind of impact they're going to have. Jaylen Brown, 39 minutes, 25 points, 6 rebounds, no assists, so he didn't love passing the ball as much as some of the other guys. And Jason Tatum, 36 minutes, 14 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists.
Yeah. 2
guys, young guys, who are really making their presence known on the court.
Yeah, and unfortunately for the Celtics, so those guys were kind of quote-unquote luxuries to have with Irving and Tatum, or Irving and Hayward, sorry. But now I think they're going to be relied on pretty heavily, and that's kind of obviously they played really well last night. I think especially Jaylen Brown, you saw him offensively, kind of taking charge and asserting himself. That's a big thing for him offensively, is to have that confidence. But they're going to need that on a consistent basis now that Hayward's out. You look at their wings, basically, at Hayward's position. It's Tatum, Jaylen Brown and Semi Ojeleye, who are, and then Abdel Nader, if you want to go down the line. Those are three very inexperienced, basically 1 year of experience between those three guys. So Brown and Tatum are going to be asked to step up. I think a few things that happen with this injury now is that you're probably going to have Marcus Smart starting at the 2, and then Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, at least while Marcus Morris is still out, are going to both be starting. Brown's going to be asked to do more offensively and defensively now, and then the same goes for Tatum. He's going to be asked to score, and he's going to be asked to play defense, because Hayward is a very good defender too, and kind of could defend multiple positions. So it just stretches the Celtics a little bit thin, and you don't want to. This kind of presents a quandary a little bit for Brad Stevens. He doesn't want to burn out Tatum or Brown. These are guys with bright futures ahead of them, but he's going to need to rely on them pretty heavily going forward.
Yeah, you're Brad Stevens. You're like, all right, I've got this crazy good team. It feels like a whole new job for me, like you said at Media Day.
Yep.
5 minutes in.
Throws a wrench into everything.
It's crazy. Yeah. You can catch a break because you've got a pretty stacked team, but you can't catch a break at the same time because now you've got to hit the drawing board. Is that what they say?
Yeah, hit the reset button.
Yeah, hit the reset
button. Go to the
button.
drawing board.
I like that.
Do both.
You look at 39 minutes, you look at 36 minutes, you think a lot of minutes on the clock, on the court.
Yep.
LeBron James, 41 minutes. So his ankle looked pretty good, looked pretty healthy. We talked a lot about, is he going to play? We both said, he was going to play.
Yeah, and of course after the game, he's complaining that he's not in shape. He thinks he's out of shape. And then he drops 29 points, 16 rebounds, 9 assists. I think he also had 2 blocks. Same old dominant LeBron, kind of rounding into form right off the bat. I think down the stretch, the biggest thing for me is when he wants to score, he just scores at will. He can just back down, get to the paint, and score at the rim. Celtics threw a lot of different players at him. Jaylen Brown guarded him, Jason Tatum. But when this guy wants to score, he's going to score. I think that he's going to be one of the NBA MVP candidates this year. Obviously, that's kind of obvious to say, but a lot of people kind of overlook him. I think that, he's he's in his prime still. He's
such a force too. When you watch him play. He's huge, and when you watch him play in person, it's like another world that you're in.
I think the beard made him look a little bit bigger.
A little bigger.
The ball
he's big as is, and when he dunks the ball, it's like the whole place you feel like is shaking.
Yep.
It's a crazy thing.
Yeah.
But he did go against his old teammate. All the drama that everybody was anticipating actually didn't really happen. They hugged at the end.
Yep.
But Kyrie Irving had himself a good night as well. He came out 39 minutes, 22 points, 4 rebounds, 10 assists. We talked about how he wanted to be on a team that was more of a team, less of a one-person show. 10 assists shows that, this guy is a team player.
Yeah, and that's especially a good sign in a game like this. When Hayward goes down 5 minutes into the game, maybe you wouldn't blame him if he kind of took that load on himself and started shooting more. But he's still a facilitator. Yeah, going forward, they're going to need him to be, they're going to rely on him to score a lot, especially in the fourth quarter, but they're going to need him to be a primary facilitator, get guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum open shots. That'll help boost their confidence.
Well, I think it was very interesting that we talked about the tribute video.
Yeah.
He did get booed when he got called out.
Pretty loudly,
but it was expected. Mm-hmm. Tribute video didn't happen.
Yeah.
I think Cleveland had said, we were looking for
the right moment,
and it didn't happen. Do you think that the Gordon Hayward injury impacted that? Because it did kind of quiet down. It was kind of like a weird vibe in there. Do you think that's why they didn't do it?
I think that's part of it. Yeah, I think just the whole mood of the night was thrown off by that injury, and things kind of weren't the same after that. There were also some rumors that some Cavs players weren't happy that that there even was a video, that there even was a tribute video. I think he should have in a vacuum. He should get a tribute video.
Yes.
He's done so much for Cleveland.
Tweet it out.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Do
something. He basically helped them win an NBA Finals 2 years ago, whenever it was. But yeah, I think last night it would have been weird to play it after the injury. But that's just the way it goes.
See, that I don't think it would have been weird.
Yeah.
I get it. I get that the mood's off, but still, this guy's done so much for your city. Yeah, the move that he made probably rubs a lot of fans, a lot of people in the front office the wrong way. But still, I mean, you can't look at what he's done and not give credit where credit is due. And I think you can't do a tribute video his 4th time when he's back in Cleveland. I mean, you can, but it's not the same.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. There's no opportunity after that now. Yeah, maybe someone else had input. Maybe Dan Gilbert came down and was like, I don't want this anymore. Yeah, who knows?
Well, if anyone in Cleveland in the front office is listening, which I'm sure you all are, tweet out the video.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the way to do it. And I think it's interesting, the story that like some of the Cavs players didn't want it to happen. One of the most impressive, I guess, off the court moments that happened was at the end of the game after he hugged LeBron. He has a different handshake with every single player, and he did them back to back to back to back to back. I was talking about this with producer Marc, and I said, like, I was so impressed by it. He's like, have you never watched a sporting event before? Like, no, I have, but I think it's crazy that you remember all of those.
They're very intricate.
Very intricate, very long, and you're doing them back to back to back. So, like, you know, you're doing one handshake and then you switch to the next. I just thought it was so impressive.
He has quick hands, very quick hands.
And it seemed like everybody was getting along.
Yeah, and I also think that situation, this is going to sound weird, but the Hayward injury, I think, led to, I think that kind of diffused a little of the tension.
Yeah.
I think everyone was kind of feeling a little bit more receptive towards each other. Everyone was like, all right, we're kind of in this together. You know, one of our guys just went down, one of our star players. I think that led to a little bit more, camaraderie after the game, a little bit more emotion. You know, if this was if Hayward doesn't go down, it's kind of a back and forth chippy affair. Maybe there's a little bit shorter greeting. But yeah, I think that played into it a little bit.
Surprised that he didn't have a handshake with LeBron.
Yeah,
that was just an embrace.
They, that's LeBron's probably too mature to do a.
Do you think he called him kid when they were hugging?
He was kind of like rubbing his head a little bit.
It was a little bit of that. I noticed that.
We won't speculate.
Right, we won't.
Yeah.
But an old Celtics player that we didn't get to see play, obviously Isaiah Thomas.
Yep.
But he was there and he got to go visit Gordon Hayward in the locker room after, which is not surprising, I think, to anybody that he would go do that. He tweeted out his support. We're going to show some tweets, some social media posts at the end of this, so stick around for that. But I mean, what else can you say about Isaiah Thomas?
Yeah.
He's great.
I mean, that's an interesting situation too, because Isaiah was actually a big player in getting Hayward here, getting Hayward to Boston. He played a big role in his recruitment. Hayward even said, Isaiah was a big reason why I came here. He was talking about how awesome Boston is, how great the fans are, how great the city is, how great it's playing for Brad Stevens. And then, so Hayward comes here on July 4th, and then in August, Isaiah's out the door. So they're kind of like ships passing in the night. But I think they still had a little bit of a bond there, and obviously, Isaiah Thomas would not hold any ill will towards Hayward. So yeah, that's good to see that he's still rooting for him.
Right, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure when Hayward and his wife Robin came to Boston to check it out, and they went to Fenway, and if you've ever been to Boston, you can see the Jumbotron at Fenway, the scoreboard, and they had welcome Gordon and Robin on it, so everybody knew he was there, and I think Isaiah Thomas was there with them at Fenway.
Yeah. So obviously he was kind of the Celtics ambassador. He's for the last 2 seasons as far as free agents go, opposing free agents coming in. So yeah.
Exactly. Well, obviously it will have an impact on the Celtics rotation, on their camaraderie, on their locker room, on Brad Stevens. But we want to hear from you, so make sure to tweet us at Nesson. Tell us your thoughts on how much of an impact this will be on the season. We'd love to hear from you. All right, now let's get into some news of the week. I want to start with something that's hilarious in my eyes.
Yeah.
Lakers tickets are the most expensive they've been in the last 4 seasons. The Lakers aren't expected to win like more than 23 games.
They're going to be bad still, yeah.
So you're telling me that all because of Ball and his family, that is why people are going, they're going to go just to see Lonzo and that's it?
This is just like, I think it shows you how starved for basketball this market is. They want the Lakers to be good, and even if there's some excitement surrounding the team, they're gonna completely buy in. I think, it does all surround Ball, and especially after the summer he had. The Lakers are summer league champs. Everyone's super excited. They have, Kyle Kuzma is another rookie who's getting some hype. Brandon Ingram they have some young players who are generating some buzz. Like I said, they're going to be bad still, but I just think, that they're kind of laying the foundation a little bit, and you've heard a lot of big names be tied to the Lakers in free agency in 2018, maybe guys like LeBron, Russell Westbrook, Paul George. So maybe the Lakers fans are kind of saying, hey, look what you can get if you come to LA. Basketball's king here.
I guess, but that's
my theory.
They're the second highest ticket price behind the Warriors.
Yeah, no, it's wild, but that's LA for you.
All right, so from one young guy to another young guy, the Sixers.
Yeah.
One player's not thrilled with his team
great.
Currently.
Yeah, Joel Embiid.
Yeah. Head coach said that he expects him to play minute-wise in the teens.
Yeah, have a little minute restriction. I don't know the exact quote. I don't know if we can necessarily play that or comment on that on air, but he was not happy.
No.
For him, I would say that this is. I think it's smart for the Sixers to limit his minutes, and I think it's a good sign that Embiid is mad about it. He wants to get on there. He wants to play. But you really have to be careful. That's just the track record, both with Embiid and with Philly in terms of injuries. I think it behooves them to be patient with everybody. They have time, so just kind of baby steps, and maybe they can expand that those minutes over the course of the season. But for right now, I would tread lightly.
Well, so I understand when you say that it's good that on both sides.
Yeah.
But it's bad for him to speak out, I think, so candidly about it. I mean, you can say, hey, I want to play, I think I can play, but to use that language, to do that, I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're a role model. I get it, you're mad, but...
Yeah, that's kind of who he is, though. He just speaks his mind.
Yeah, I get that, but you're in the NBA now.
Tweets his mind. So, and he's he's still a young kid.
Yeah.
So.
That's what I don't understand.
Yeah. So that's just Philly. I mean, I think he... as far as on the spectrum of situations where you can drop some expletives, so this is not as bad as some other ones.
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
All right, maybe I'm just a baby. On to the Rockets and Warriors. There was an SB Nation article that came out that said that the Rockets were just trying to beat the Warriors at their own game. Well, they did.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, by a point, but still. Rockets on top.
The undefeated season is over for the Warriors. 82-0 is off the table.
Off the table.
Yeah.
Were you surprised by this? Was it?
I think the one takeaway for me is we talk about injuries is how important Draymond Green is to the Warriors, and you saw him go out with a knee injury. It looks like it's just a strain, nothing too serious, but. The Warriors, when Draymond Green is not in the lineup, are a different team. Obviously, they have a ton of scorers. They still have. Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. But Draymond does a lot of things on both ends of the floor that kind of helps this team stay together. So, he's, I think, probably, you could argue he's the most important player and the guy they need to stay healthy. I think if he does, they're going to be fine. And I think they're also, I think there was a report that they're just kind of rest players. They're not concerned with any sort of ramifications from Adam Silver, the NBA. They're going to rest players if anyone's hurt. So, if this team is, they can kind of hit cruise control during the regular season, I think, and then just turn it on in the playoffs. But Rockets, Rockets look good, and I think Chris Paul and James Harden, that's a good situation. They're, like we said, kind of following the Warriors blueprint. They have some guys who can space the floor, they can shoot threes. No real they go with the lineup without a traditional big man back to the basket center and just kind of spread teams out. They're going to be fun to watch, and I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the conference, but still not the Warriors.
And you can't, if you're a Warriors fan, let's not get nervous.
Yeah. They actually.
Warriors fans are kind of like Patriots fans.
I actually think they lost their opener last season.
Oh.
And then they were fine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
They're fine.
Don't panic, Warriors fans.
But let's talk about some social media now. Obviously, the topic that we have to discuss is Gordon Hayward, is his injury, and he got a lot of support from guys from all over the league and beyond. The NFL, lots of NFL guys that reached out. J.J. Watt, obviously, who's dealing with his own injury, can't even put into words, Gordon Hayward, feeling for you, man, absolutely gut-wrenching. Odell Beckham Jr. as well, another guy who's injured. We've seen it in all leagues, so of course NFL guys are going to reach out.
Yeah, and they get hurt a lot. So
absolutely. And on to the NBA. Steph Curry, who's dealing with his loss, like we were talking about earlier, he reached out. He did the prayer emoji for Gordon Hayward. Come back stronger. Isaiah Thomas as well. Woke up this morning praying hard for my guy at Gordon Hayward. Minor setback for a major comeback. My brother, all love from me. I like that. Minor setback for a major comeback.
Yeah, that's a positive message. It's good to see him support his former teammate for like 2 months.
Absolutely. And I think this was cool. The Utah Jazz, who of course Gordon played for before the Celtics.
Yep.
Gordon and Robin, our thoughts are with you and your family. All of Jazz Nation sending best wishes for a speedy recovery. And obviously Magic Johnson there.
Yeah.
Can't beat getting that. I mean, if you're Gordon Hayward and you wake up and Magic Johnson is sending best wishes, not a bad, a bad morning, but uplifting.
Plenty of people on our side. I also, I can't imagine what Jazz fans are thinking right now. Obviously, Hayward kind of, ripped their hearts out a little bit by going to Boston, but now he's hurt. I think they're going to, he's still a guy who's close to their hearts, so they kind of have some mixed emotions right now.
Yeah, but not as close as someone's own dad, Gordon Hayward. Yeah. Senior took to his Twitter account, "Thanks to everyone for all the messages, prayers, and love. We know that Gordon will be fine and God has big plans for him. Hashtag God is good all the time." So uplifting there, obviously. Yep. If you're a dad, you see your son go down like that, that is...
Yeah, that's tough to watch. I think they're with him now. I think he's back in Boston, so hopefully the recovery process starts. And actually, so we got one from Kobe Bryant too. Instagram post from him. It was pretty long one. I won't read the whole thing, but basically, it was centered around focusing on the recovery process, being strong. Kobe's gone through a lot of serious injuries in his career. He had the Achilles injury late in his career. So just the mentality he needs to adopt, Hayward needs to adopt going forward. Guy like Kobe talks, you listen. So I think that was pretty powerful.
Absolutely, and his wife Robin took to Instagram as well. You can go check out her Instagram to see that. But obviously, everybody is in good spirits, which is nice to see. All the people that are around him, his most immediate family. Mm-hmm. He's also a dad, so
yeah.
There's more to life than basketball for him.
Yeah, and he's also a video game buff, so he's gonna have silver lining here. He's gonna have some time to play some video games. So
absolutely,
that's good.
All right, well that will do it for episode 2 of the Rebound. You want to follow along with Darren on Twitter at Darren_Hartwell or myself at Cox Courtney. But we're just getting started here. It's so early on in the season. We will be doing this once a week, so keep it locked in right here at NESN.com. We've got everything you need for this NBA season.
Barefoot, trying to reach my reservoir. Stole my style, need to pay me back. Crazy brainiac, made me turn into an animaniac. Say that you a baller.